All right, this morning I'm going to show you different ways you can start to paper mache. So the first way that you might want to design your mask is with cardboard. You can see that this was cardboard added on top. Holes were cut out, and this is about 4 or 5 layers of paper mache, so it's going to take a long time to finish that one. And then we paint and decorate and add feathers, fibers, raffia, recycled materials. We add that on top, probably with a hot glue gun or sewing or something like that. You can also take a balloon, and this was a balloon. It deflated, so I went ahead and took it off. And now I'm just kind of working on the inside because the inside might fall apart later. So I'm just kind of gluing and tacking and paper macheing more. This is really good if you really want a round object to cover your mask. If you're working with a partner on a balloon, you could go ahead and cover the whole balloon and then cut this in half later. I can help you with that. If you want to use a mold, I have some left. These are okay to use. This person did not smooth very well, so I want to talk about smoothing. You can use these molds, but you have to add to it. So maybe you would add crazy big eyes, or maybe you would add feathers, maybe you would add a crown, maybe you would add big lips, or big eyelashes, eyebrows, something different, nose piercings, ears. Like, you got to add to this. This will not be a finished mask. So we'll look at your sketch and we'll see how we can use that mold to help you. And this pops off later. I'm not sure if the student is finished, so I'm not going to do anything about that. This is the actual paper mache paste you're going to use. If you need a refill, let me know. You're not allowed to refill on your own. What this is powdered glue with water, and the longer it sets, the stickier it gets. So it's pretty much watered down glue. Okay, so how do you paper mache? Well, this is what I really want you to follow through on. You can, I'll practice on this. You can use newspaper. It doesn't matter if there's text on it because you're gonna paint on top of this anyway. For your last layers, you might just want to use newsprint. This is the sketch paper, the thin newsprint paper. Your strips should be small. So if you grab strips like this from my pre-cut box, do not use this whole strip to try to plug in and get wet. That's too big. So you have to go ahead. You can use scissors or just rip it into smaller pieces. Okay, so to paper mache, you're gonna dip. Your hands get messy on this, by the way. You're going to, okay, one side's not gooey, one side is. So I gotta make sure I get goo on both sides. So I'm gonna slather, like slide with 2 fingers, flip it, and slide again. Now my fingers have all the goo. I don't really need that, so I scrape my fingers on the side of the jar. I'm going to even flip again because this is really too saturated. You don't want this to be sloppy. You don't want it to be flinging a lot of goo. You just want it to be saturated evenly on both sides. So if this is too much for you, some people prefer to use a paintbrush and they like to paint the goo on. Let me know. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so to apply, you need to smooth this down so there's no real crevices that are going to get in the way when you paint. So smooth it for 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty good. And now I'm going to do one more, and you have to turn into a machine because you need about 5 layers if you want this to be a real sturdy mask. If you do 3 layers, you might get by with painting as well on top of it. But what happens is if you add too much moisture, this can collapse. So if I added too much paint or too much moisture and it wasn't strong enough to handle it, it would just break apart. Okay, so crisscross. When you add a new piece, you can add it anywhere as long as it's touching another piece. I like to do, well, for this one at first I did like overlapping side to side, and that worked out pretty well, but eventually I ended up doing X's, and you will have some creases. That just is because you're working on a round surface. If you're working on a flat cardboard, it's going to be much easier. However, if you work on a flat cardboard, your mask is going to be really flat and it won't form to your face. So if you want this, if you want cardboard, we can bend it like this piece. We can bend it slightly so that each time we paper mache on it, we can let it dry at an angle and it will have some nice form to it and it'll kind of round to your face better. So cardboard is an option. Balloons are an option if that fits your sketch. And faces are an option. I have some molds left. The one thing about balloons is you're going to want to get a water bucket. So when you work with a balloon, you'll want to get a water bucket and then put your balloon here. That way, as you're paper macheing, you would be adding to your balloon, adding to your balloon, adding to your balloon, and this will help keep your balloon from rolling all over the classroom. So if you look at my newspaper, I didn't really make a lot of mess. So if you end up being the same way, very clean and organized because you're scraping the goo off, you will not have to throw a lot of stuff away or clean up a lot. So extra strips, I'll show you where they go. Extra strips will have to go back into, how do hold on. Okay, extra strips. Carefully, don't make a mess on the floor. The janitor will hate us. They go back in here in the box that says strips, so we can reuse those. The paper mache paste, this goes up on top. So we might need to get this whole box down when it's time so people don't just throw them up there and then we have a mess. This is definitely teacher only. If you need more goo, let me know. I'll pour it for you. I have these here, so if you want to do this at home, you can read this and look at these. That's the artist paste we use. You can use newspaper to cover your table, or you can use newsprint, whatever you want. If you have something like it didn't get that dirty, go ahead and fold it. We can recycle. Here's a couple examples. I don't mind if you look at them throughout the day. These are like boxes, if you want to look at those. What else? Just try to clean up after yourself. You know, I don't like paintbrushes and stuff in the sink. If you need to build up, I have paper towel rolls. So if you want to make eyes out of this just by slicing it and making round eyes, that would be cool. What else? Oh, there's these scissors that are new. So if you need cardboard scissors, let me know. You can borrow these. And then if you're trying to make something slithery or something round with movement, you can tape this down and then paper mache even the air, the in-between space you can attach to the bridge. You can make bridges. All right, those are some ideas. I hope you have fun.